Okay, today we're looking at what I think are 4 really special guitars made by a young guitar maker called Nico Giordano. Now, I've been on the hunt for like my perfect Les Paul single cut type guitar for a long time. I've owned 5 Gibson Les Pauls. I still have one of them. I had 3 burst types. I had a 50 standard Goldtop. The 3 burst types I had were custom shop, 2 R9s and an R0. And I've still got a Murphy Lab 3 pickup Bigsby 57 custom black beauty type thing. That one, I really, really love it. It's a great sounding guitar. The other ones, I always struggle to get exactly what I wanted out of them. And actually, I always struggle to get out of a single cut type guitar, really, from a lot of, you know, any big makers I tried, like Paul Reed Smith and etc. What I wanted until I tried some small makers. I think the first one I tried was by Mikhail Springer, and that belonged to my mate Stuart, who has actually lent 2 of the 4 guitars here, so I don't own all 4 of these. And he also makes the pickups that are in these guitars. That's Sunbear pickups. Now, I'd heard of Nico on the grapevine. I'd seen some of his guitars around on YouTube. And when this black one came up in Italy in a shop, this was, I don't know, a year and a half ago maybe, I jumped on it. I knew he already had a waiting list. He was working by himself. And he was becoming in high demand. Well, he was already in high demand. And I was blown away by this black guitar. And we're going to have a closer look at that later. My current squeeze is this one, this gold beauty here. And then there is a 58 Tributo. Tributo is the shape that the gold one, the burst one with the 58 type, and the last guitar are. And he doesn't really make the sort of single cut shape, Les Paul shape anymore. Now, this gold one. I love a gold top. Who doesn't love a gold top? But even more than a gold top, just a gold all-round guitar. About a year ago, someone who watches the channel came over to let me record their amp. That day, I didn't really record what I needed to. It was all a bit quick, and so I never made the video. But he very kindly brought along a couple of great Les Pauls. And one of them was an all gold top, and I just didn't even know that existed until that day, and it was something stunning to look at. This guitar is like the guitar of my dreams, basically, and it was for Nico who made it. He made it as a sort of one-off special project for a guitar show recently, and well, he put a story up on Instagram, and my mate Stuart sent me the picture of it because he just knew that I was looking for an all gold top one day. I didn't think I would be looking at one now. I had to sell something to buy this, but it was totally worth it. And the moment I played it, I knew I'd made the right decision. I want to take a closer look, but let's just hear a bit more of that. First, what am I playing through today? Well, I'm in a real Marshall mood these days, and in this whole video, I'm playing my vintage 1965 JTM 45. I'll show you the settings. It's in loud. It's about 112 decibels, like 12 foot from the amp behind it in that corner where I've got a little meter thing. So I've been recording on and off over the last week here and there because you can't play that, you know, for hours. It's nuts. Saying that, I really want another Marshall amp or a Marshall type amp. Let's just have a quick chat about that, actually. I'm just in a massive Marshall mood. I'm craving that like crunch and distortion, and it's bringing out a different side of my playing that I absolutely love because it just feels free and fun, and there's something about playing a bit more overdrive distortion from an amp that is just wicked. So I had a Friedman Dirty Shirley a while back, and I found that a bit tight and a bit modern sounding, and I know it's supposed to be vintage sounding. So anyone let me know of a boutique maker making like incredible plexi. So I'd like a super lead, I guess. The one, it was after the JTM 45. So yeah, anyway, hit me up in the comments, tell me what you know. Okay, the Goldtop. Oh wait, yeah, there's no pedals. There is just my always on delay pedal for most things I do. The Analog Man dual analog delay. It's a beauty, this thing. I have to have it on. I love slapback, especially when there's no reverb. Sounds great. Okay, Goldtop. Gold, all gold top. Okay, so I guess, you know, a first and obvious difference to a Gibson Les Paul is the shape. And I think it's always a great sort of transition when a small maker goes from making single cut Les Paul type guitars where they normally start because they love Les Pauls and then create their own shape. And I think people have been getting better at it because when that first started happening, or at least when I noticed or started looking, I didn't always love the shapes. You know, I was very fixated on the shape. I love this shape, really do. To the point where I will be ordering my own burst from Nico soon. And yeah, he's done it just right. You know, the proportions look great. It's very stylish. It keeps its allure, basically. So that's great. Other than that, what is there to say? We've got this great trapezoid thing, which he imported from the US that cost him a lot of money. I think it came from Mojo Tone. And I think that's one reason to have an early type Goldtop. That's, you know, obviously made with the correct neck angles and everything that the originals may not have been, because this does give a difference. Maybe that doesn't show you much, but I can tell you when you sit and play this with a plectrum without being plugged in, there is some sort of acousticy overtone. This metal thing that actually was really vibrating just now. Okay, well, that's the major thing about this guitar. The P90s, as ever, in Nico's guitars generally. Sunbears, I love Stewart's P90s. They are just glorious. They sing and they're sweet and they also crank up really well and they just do everything a P90 should. I would put them also in a Gibson guitar because I just prefer them. Nico's aging is the thing for me. His aging is beyond what I've seen from most places, most people. The attention to detail, obviously the like techniques he's developed and found out for himself. It just feels great. You know, there's nothing sort of, when someone's decent but not amazing at relicking, you can sometimes look and think, yeah, it looks really cool, but it doesn't feel real, doesn't look real. And then someone develops this sort of level of like mature relicking. I love it. So yeah. And then he specially, well, he'd made some standard, I think, dark covers, but he decided to make this reddish brown cover for me. You know, this cavity covers, they look really cool. And again, that aging, it's just not, it's not too much, but what I do like, he's the king of the ugly relic, so to speak. You know, like he'll put in proper scrapes and things that some makers shy away from. Okay, this is Nico's 58 style Tributo, and it's a prototype. I actually don't know if it was going to be sold necessarily. It was going to do the rounds here. It got sent over, and I think Stuart fell in love with it, so he wanted it. And I can fully understand it. Now, okay, shape's the same as the gold one. Still absolutely sort of stunning relicking and stunning sort of feeling and sounding guitar. There's definitely some sort of magic under the hood here. I don't know the exact details, but yeah, the build quality and everything just comes together to make these guitars that are just incredibly vibrant and great in every sort of place in terms of the sound quality. You know, not too low in the low end, but still like girthy, and plenty of mids, and then a great top end that's not shrill. It's just astonishing. Now this is a 58, so it doesn't have an incredible burst to it. It has that more understated sort of curly wood pattern, big grain, and not really any flame or much flame to speak of with that, and you know, not that sort of big 59 look to it. I like that understatedness, and I think Stuart particularly likes that, and so that's why he went for it. The neck has a bigger or different shape than my Goldtop. It's still a very comfortable neck, probably more so than the black single cut that we'll see next, which has a massive neck. So yeah, he's really gone for it. What are the only, well, there's only one thing I don't like. I don't love the shape of the inlays, I'll be honest, but I think makers have to try and stamp themselves on things, and you know, the Goldtop has the sort of more traditional inlays, the sort of rhomboid or whatever they're called. The black one you'll see has block inlays. This has the sort of rounder shape, and it's not really for me to like it or not like it. I think it's just a place where a maker can start to look and make a difference visually, and some people will love it and some won't. Now, the pickups in here are very special. They're the Sunbear 58 Reserve, which Stuart released just recently, like 2 or 3 months ago, and he's already sold so many sets. And I've got a set. These are my favourite PAF replicas that I've tried, compared to Throwbacks, compared to Ron Ellis, compared to Rewind, and to Custom Buckers, and whatever other ones I've tried that I can't remember, Bare Knuckles and all of those sorts of things, Lollas. These 58 Reserves are just that line between sweetness and barkiness that you want. They're just the PAF for me. I need to get a video together where I have 57, 58 and 59 of Stuart's PAFs so I can hear the difference, we can hear the difference. But these are the 58 Reserve that I love, and they're in a 58 Tributo. So that makes sense. Well, everything else is as it is. It sounds epic. I will be sad to give it back. And you can tell a Nico guitar by the way it plays. There's a resonance and a tightness to the feel of the setup, in a good way, I mean, that comes together. And he definitely just makes guitars that are really great with a Marshall amp. You know, sound great with a 2-rock, a Fender, whatever, but they absolutely just have this big, thick voice. And yeah, my JTM 45 is the sort of bass JTM 45, as in BASS, bass, as opposed to lead, I suppose. And so it has that thickness to it. That is bass turned all the way off on that amp, which is crazy. But yeah, this guitar is astonishing. Okay, this is the one that started it. This is the sort of 55, custom 5455, custom, you know, with these speed knobs, with all the binding and everything. Just an astonishing thing. I guess what's most unique about this guitar is the all mahogany body as opposed to the maple and mahogany. And I just find it's got even more of a bark and maybe less low end, I want to say. There's a tightness to the sound. It really cuts through. It's just, yeah, great. When I first got this, I was in such a Jimi Hendrix mood and such a Strat mood and such a clean amp with fuzz sort of mood, I guess. I didn't quite vibe with it, but the main thing was the neck was a little bit big for me for the way I play, which is thumb over. And so I sold this to Stuart, but at some point I begged him to let me buy it back because I wanted a Giordano that was a standard Les Paul shape. And I've grown to find this guitar more comfortable and I love it. I can't play it for quite as long as the gold one, which the neck just fits my hand better. But yeah, it packs a wallop. Now this has completely different pickups. This has a Sunbear staple pickup, made like a real staple in the neck. You don't hear that in this video for whatever reason. I just stuck to the bridge. As I said, I'm in a Marshall mood. Marshall bridge pickups, it just is a thing for me. But then in the bridge is a vintage P90, so a 53 or 4, I can't quite remember. And that is what you hear. Yeah, that thing is epic. What do they have? What does a real vintage one have that even a Sunbear doesn't have? There's a rawness to it, is what I'd say. The Sunbears are the closest I've come across personally, but it's like just sticking a microphone right inside the guitar, really. You can hear so much noise as well. They're a bit of a pain sometimes, and you'll hear that especially in the last guitar, which has a vintage P90 as well. But yeah, most important thing here is the all mahogany body. The finish on this thing is spectacular as well. It's just so beautifully done. And also this is when he was doing the normal headstock and it's got the proper sort of custom inlay to it. Just the attention to detail. I think this is what I figure the most with Nico. This guy just loves these guitars. You know, was one guy when he made the black one. He's now himself and a guy that does things like a lot of the sanding and stuff, while Nico concentrates on the designs, the finish work, the relicking and all of that, and probably the important build stuff in setting the neck, getting the angle, all of that. But now that he has someone to do the sanding, he can put more output. I know from being in the middle of making my first few guitars for people that are paying for them as well, how important it is to get a good finish, and the sanding is just endless. So congrats to him for being able to get someone on board. It's well, he told me that he was working 7 days a week, 14, 16-hour days, and it was just starting to mean he hated it. So yeah, well done. Okay, we'll hear a little bit more of this, and then the last one is a bit of an oddball. Okay, let me say this straight up, that Burgundy Mist, TV Burgundy Mist at that, it's not necessarily a me thing. It's clearly a Stuart thing. This belongs to Stuart, like the 58 did. It's a Tributo, it's a Jnr. What's special about this one? Well, the look is pretty special, depending on what you think of it. I like the way it comes together with the pick guard. You know, it just works well in itself, but it's not a colour I would pick personally, but I'm sure lots of people will love it. It's the sort of guitar I'd pick, though, if I was playing live, if I wanted to make a statement. Now, I've played this guitar a few times before, and I know it's an amazing guitar. One of the best Juniors, and I've had an original 56 Junior. I've got a great Gibson Custom Shop Junior that I love. And I put this on par with those two. It's, again, got the Nico type feeling, like it's all just put together perfectly. And yeah, I guess this is what I think about someone like Nico is, I personally am put off by perfection looks in the guitar world. I'm put off by the Paul Reed Smith, James Eggle, Huber sort of look. It just doesn't do it for me. But their build quality is amazing and often results in great sounding guitars. But Nico has been able to make guitars that don't look like that, but they feel like that. Or even better. So yeah, that's great. Now, it's a bit of a anticlimax because the P90 absolutely wails in this amp when it's above 3. What I mean is like the screeching and high-pitched noise that was coming through. I asked Stuart, it's a vintage P90, I asked him and he said it probably just needs screwing down a bit more, but I said, look, I don't want to touch it, I don't want to break the cover or something, so I'll leave it. So you'll just hear a few seconds of this guitar. It is a fantastic guitar, played into the right amp as well. But as I said, we're playing incredibly loudly, and P90s are famously loud. And I think this one is probably a bit microphonic as well. But yeah, it shows you the breadth of what Nico does. Stuart has also got a standard shaped Junior from Nico that's a traditional sort of burst. And that's a wicked guitar, but we wanted to show you this Tributo. Actually, in this shape, you can probably, in this color, sorry, and this flat shape, you can probably see the overall shape even better. So cool. Yeah. But there you go. Okay, so it's been a bit of a show and tell video really. I just wanted you to see and hear these guitars that I think are absolutely incredible. Nico's waiting list is getting longer and longer. Since I recorded the first bit where at some point I said I might order a burst, I actually talked to him and he said it would be about 12 months. So I've put in like a soft order. Well, it's an order. I put in an order, but yeah, you might want to do that if you're interested. I think that Goldtop, if you can get him to make another one, is what I'd go for. But I'm happy for it to be the only one out there. Yeah, he's doing something very special, and I just want to support that really, along with other small makers. I mentioned Mikhail Springer, and there's a few others. Those are the two that most catch my attention for what they're doing. Chris Buck plays a Springer at the moment, a Fire Hawk, I think he calls it. It's like a Firebird type of thing, but with Springer's own inimitable style. Springer's a little bit more quirky. He does all sorts of interesting things with his guitars, but at its core, they're just incredible sounding and looking guitars like Nico's are. So yeah, almost more than anything, the revelation for me this last week has been the Marshall. It hadn't been turned on for probably 6 months. So I mentioned a while ago that I was going to do my next Fender Hot Rod Deluxe sound like video, which I did before, making it sound like my Joey Landreth amp. So I'm going to do one where I want to get it to try something that sounds something like the JTM 45. So if you want to hear that, then please subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up. That really helps. And my 10K sub giveaway, which should now be the 12K sub giveaway, has been delayed for all sorts of reasons. There's going to be a video in a couple of weeks where I put a new set of Sunbears. Well, the ones I mentioned came out of the Collings, the 58 Reserve. They're going to go into my Gold SG. And in that video, I'm going to announce the winner of the giveaway. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel and subscribe publicly. That means to go in your security settings on YouTube and tell it that people can see your subscriptions publicly. There's no other way for me to see your subscriptions. Any channel that says, at 1 million subs, you can win a Klon, just a hypothetical. If you're not subscribed publicly, I don't think there's any way they could possibly see that you're subscribed. Of course, it's easier to have lower numbers of people to actually sift through. Even with my lower numbers, the last time I did one of these must have been a 6K giveaway or something, and it took me forever to figure out how to draw a name from the hat. But anyway, I'll leave it at that. If you want to win a pair of Sunbear PAFs, worth about 250 quid, I think, then just subscribe to the channel. I'll be drawing a name in a couple of weeks' time. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this one. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.